Hi, everybody. It's Sunday evening. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz here to talk some weather with you. We're going to go long range in this because there's some interesting things happening in terms of the fact that we turn February and then it turns more January like. So, Mother Nature, not always in balance, but it's going to be very cold this week. Let's just say that we're already seeing that product come into the lower 48 with some colder air, and we're feeling it outside now. So, we've got couple windows of time we need to watch with some slippery travel around here, a couple snow systems as well. And as always, here on these Sunday evening shows, we'll take you through it all. We'll give you what we're thinking. We'll open it up to questions, and then we'll get you on your way on your Sunday evening. After our intro, we'll talk about all that here in our Sunday evening edition of Region Weather Live. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. We had my daughter's 7th birthday this weekend, so we had lots of cake, lots more cake, and then some more cake, and she had a good time, which always is great. And Mary, thank you for wishing her a happy birthday. You're on it, boy. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Susie from Portage, Indiana. Good evening to you, Ruth. Ruth's hoping for some big snowstorms. Well, Ruth, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Just an operational update for you guys. I realize my webcam actually has a focus, so that's interesting. So I may look a little bit more in focus rather than a blob, which I've probably been last couple times. Also, per the suggestion of one of our Facebook followers, they said, hey, why don't you try an internet extender for your basement since your internet's awful down in your little office? And I've got one hooked up, but I see my signal goes in and out a little bit. So let me know if this is better signal-wise. Again, it should be. Everything's hooked up properly and running, and we should be good to go here. So some new things. We're really improving things around here at Region Weather. Hey, Russ, thanks for joining us there, buddy. Hi, Gail. Good evening to you as well. I really appreciate having the whole family here tonight to chit-chat some weather. So I'll make this as quick as possible. As always, we need to give a little bit of time to our sponsors, Grieger Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, out of Valparaiso, wonderful family-owned business. You guys know them. Here's all I ask. Rather than giving you spiels on each business, they're all fantastic, and I mean that. We're very selective in who we work with. They're all family-owned businesses. They're all in the region, which is wonderful. Please, please, please support them and tell your Region Weather sent them. I know it's not every day you're going to buy a Jeep, but if you are in the car buying business, whether it be a used car you're looking for or something new, support Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on US 30 there. Also, Discovery Travel. Guys, it is not the best time to be in Northwest Indiana, at least weather-wise, right? It hasn't been too bad. There are some really warm places in the world right now, and who better to help you than a local travel agency? They're not taking your money and keeping it all. What they're doing is getting you the best deal on everything, and they're sharing that savings with you and getting you however much you need with the trip. If it's Costa Rica you want to go to and you know nothing about Costa Rica, they will take all the things that you want to do. They'll get an itinerary for you. They'll get you the cheapest flights, anything you could possibly want with a trip to Costa Rica or anywhere in the world. They'll handle it. It's Discovery Travel. It's discoverytrvl.com. Also, Tiger Plumbing, our favorite plumbers in Northwest Indiana. A lot of you have reached out to them for any plumbing issues you have, leaky pipes, toilet that's not flushing, toilet that's flushing too much, whatever it happens to be. Tigerplumbing.net is the place to go. They come out for free and analyze the problem, which is unlike any other plumber. They always charge $99 to come out. Tiger Plumbing doesn't do that, and they do great work at a great place, family-owned business as well, so support them. And finally, last but not least, Ewing Mechanical Services. If you have anything wrong with HVAC or anything air-related in your house, they will take care of it. They'll do same-day service. They're wonderful. It's ewingmech.com. They got a brand new hot logo there as well. But they're really doing some fun things. Like them on Facebook, too. They're really fun to follow on Facebook. They do a lot of contests, and they keep the show for free. So thank you to the sponsors out there. All right, let's jump into the weather here. In terms of the weather here in the near term, we've got a little system to talk about tonight into tomorrow. We're already starting to see the effects of that, some snow out there tonight. But temperatures are the big story this week, and they're starting to come down now. We're in the mid-20s, even some low 20s just off towards our north. And they're going to continue to slide all the way through tomorrow night, not tonight, tomorrow night. Temperatures just do this. That Arctic air has been bubbled up in Canada. It came south in the northern tier of the country over the weekend, and now it's not blasting in here like it did at Christmas. It's kind of oozing in here. I know that's a weird term to use, but it pictures it so well. This cold air is just kind of leaking into northwest Indiana as we speak, and it will continue to do so. And again, we get a couple shots of it this week, so it's going to feel a little bit more January-like around here. But I want to start with the big picture. This is the setup across the country right now. You notice nothing's really coming at us from Canada. It's very, very interesting. Whenever you have what it detects is cold cloud tops. Okay, it'll detect thunderstorms that go way up in the sky. That gets very cold up there in the summertime. But all this purple you see, it's actually detecting the cold surface on the land. That's how cold it is in the northern tier of the country. So all of this is cold air. This is a big pool of Arctic air from the polar vortex that kind of came south. And you can see it's not really here yet. But look at the pattern. Last week on Region Weather Live, the Sunday one, I know we did a couple last week, but our Sunday one, we were talking about this pattern and how there could be some kind of boundary in here with multiple storm systems. And it looked like we had the potential for a very snowy or icy week around here. Well, what's changed in the last week that we've been watching is that this cold air is pushing further south. So we're going to be more entrenched in the cold air. It's going to take this storm track well to the south, like down. So that keeps all the real big snows out of our way this week. And then we just really deal with cold air and some periodic lake effect. But what we have right now is this little ripple of energy you see right through with some moisture with it. We've got temperatures that are below freezing already. And what we're going to see is just a general light snow. Sometimes, though, when there's not a lot of, and I promise I'm going to roll after this, I just want to explain this off the top. Sometimes when there's not enough lift in the atmosphere, right, things aren't rising fast enough, there's no reason for the air to rise, you'll have moisture trapped in the lower levels. And that's what we're going to have at times tonight. When the air isn't rising enough to produce snowflakes, we're going to have moisture that's trapped. And what happens when that happens is you get drizzle. And when it's this cold, it's freezing drizzle. And so those are the two concerns tonight, is we may get some patches of freezing drizzle around here. And at times we'll get some snowflakes when there's enough poof in the atmosphere to get those clouds forming. All that to say, we've got a little area of moisture moving through tonight. This will last through tomorrow as well. And I think with temperatures especially continuing to go down, we could certainly have some spots around here. So keep that in mind, okay? So here's our everything. So I want to start with temperatures. This is right now. Watch what happens as we go throughout the overnight hours, though. We really start to bring in this colder air. Look at the upper Midwest. I mean, we're talking air temps down -10, -15 degrees. For us, we're going to fall down right around 19 degrees tomorrow morning, depending on where you are, and we're going to hold there. So tomorrow morning out the door, may have some slick spots. If the car is not in the garage, you may have to just ice scrape a little layer off. We may have a little snow on that as well. And then tomorrow you're going to wake up, it's going to be colder and it's going to feel cold. We're going to be right around, as I mentioned, 19 degrees or so. And then as we go throughout the day, this cold air is still pushing in. So despite the fact it's daytime and normally we warm up, we have that diurnal curve in temperatures, right? Not tomorrow. We're going to stay right around 19 all morning, fall back to probably 17, 15 degrees by noon. And then by afternoon and the evening, we're down into the teens. So certainly a cold day tomorrow. On top of that, we're going to have some gusty winds. So you put that together with the cold temperature, we're talking wind chill values tomorrow, especially later in the day near zero, if not in the -5 degree range. So falling below 0 at times, especially tomorrow evening. A cold day, all right? That's what you need to get out of that. Cold air sticks around here on Tuesday. This is your Tuesday. Notice how we're just entrenched in teens and single digits for highs in the Great Lakes. We'll probably hit somewhere around 14, 15 degrees on Tuesday. So another cold day. And then we moderate a little bit into Wednesday. It'll be a cold start Wednesday morning. But notice how we get back up into the maybe low 30s if things go well Wednesday afternoon. And then not a bad day on Thursday, all things considered. You can see high temperatures on Thursday, still in the upper 20s and near 30. And then we get another little shot of some Arctic air that moves really through the Great Lakes and Northeast this weekend. You can see the core of that. Look at those numbers. Buffalo, maybe -15 degrees. But for us, in terms of temperatures, this is your Friday highs, maybe back down near 10 degrees. And then down into the weekend, we start to moderate a little bit. Looks a little bit warmer into next week as well. But bottom line, we've got a cold week ahead of us. Really 2 shots of cold air. One comes later this week, one to start the week with a little moderation in between. So in terms of snowfall, this is the system I'm talking about right now. You can see if this thing were further north and had more Gulf of Mexico moisture in it, which it doesn't, we would have a real good storm on our hands. I mean, and last week when we were looking at these models, it looked like several waves could have ridden along this. I mean, we're really missing out on the opportunity to have some decent snows around here. If this was just about another 100, 150 miles further to the north, this would be a very snowy setup. But instead, there's not much moisture with this, at least locally. Here's what the models like to do, bringing some of that snow in here. I'm telling you, if we don't have enough lift in that atmosphere, we're going to have some freezing drizzle tonight as well. I know it's not showing up in the modeling. I could certainly see that, though. As we go throughout the day, a gusty north wind coming out of the northeast. We'll have moisture that will be leaving the area. Perhaps if in the Port County points east. Doesn't look to be a big event, but doesn't take much with these cold temperatures to slicken things up because road salt doesn't work quite as effectively. So again, tomorrow evening, we could still have some leftover flurries, but bulk of the rain or bulk of the freezing drizzle and the snow will be out of here as we go throughout the midday hours. Not a big snow out of that. And then our next couple of systems are way down to the south. So it's going to be icy if you have to travel down towards Kentucky, even areas of Tennessee this week. You notice ice coming through the Nashville area as we go on into Wednesday. But overall, the only thing we really have to worry about through the middle half of the week is just some leftover lake effect flurries and snow showers. Doesn't look to be a big event by any means. So this is the last thing I'll kind of carry us through here. And then we'll get on to your questions because there's really not a lot to talk about outside of the cold week we have. But I do want to go a little bit more long range in this. So as we go throughout the week, again, tomorrow is really the only day of concern for me. Again, a couple leftover flurries on Tuesday in the snow belt. Doesn't look to be too impactful. This is now up to Wednesday. Again, everything's down towards our south. We'll quiet down. Pretty seasonable. Thursday looks pretty quiet as well. And then this system up here is the next one to watch. This is an Alberta Clipper system that'll be well towards our north and east. This one goes out towards New England. But what this does is bring cold air back into the region as we talked about. So Friday looking pretty cold, and that could trigger some lake effect snow. And depending on how close this travels to us with the moisture, we could get a decent burst of some lake snow around here sometime Thursday night into Friday. You can see the models. This is the Euro model, pretty consistent with some lake effect sense. That's hold air in place too, so that would accumulate pretty quickly. So we'll watch that Thursday night and then all day Friday event to see what the lake effect looks like with that. And then on into the weekend, we start to moderate a little bit with a nice southeast wind or southwest wind, and not a lot of systems in the forecast until next week when we could get a little bit more active around here with some kind of system around here. The GFS, the Euro don't agree at all on what that looks like. So keep that in mind, okay? So that's where we go from there. So not a lot of snow this week, just some cold. And I highlighted again, Monday and Friday are going to be, so tomorrow and then Friday are our 2 days that we need to watch in terms of snowfall. If there is going to be anything impactful, tomorrow would be a light coating of snow, maybe a little ice on that. And then our next one would be Friday with that lake effect, okay? So that's what we're looking at this week. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'd be happy to answer those for you. And we'll get you on your way here tonight, okay? So we figured out the camera, which is great. I feel like I'm getting older. I don't understand technology, even though I feel like I do. But it looks like the internet's glitchy again, so that's great. So I'm going to have to work on my extender. I have a mesh extender plugged in right there. Problem is we've got big old 1900 walls in here in our old house, so there's that. All right, let's see. Maxwell's asking a great question. Will we get some sun this week? Maxwell, let's look at our sun chances. We can actually look at this in terms of cloud cover, and we'll look for some sun peaks. I do think we get some sun around here. Our chance would be Tuesday into Wednesday, but let's look to verify. So here's your cloud cover. I know we could use the sun. Here's tomorrow. We're not going to see much, especially early in the day. Late in the day, we might get some clearing. There it is. Does it get here? Maybe late tomorrow afternoon, we bring in some sunshine. That looks like a pretty good shot of it with the lake clouds holding on. You can hear the percentage cloud cover per, okay? So maybe late tomorrow. Is it before sunset? Hopefully we can get it in here. Tuesday, I think we have a better chance at some sun. We'll probably have some high clouds around. So Tuesday, yep, we see some sunshine around here. Just some scattered clouds. So not a bad day Tuesday. If we can get sun any day, I know it's good. Wednesday's our best chance, at least in my book. There you go. We have some sun, but high clouds. Try to get in here from that storm system down in Tennessee. But Wednesday looks good. I mean, some bright sunshine around here. And then we get back into the clouds, at least we should, with that lake effect event. Yeah, so this is Thursday and the Friday. We have lake effect clouds, but it's sunny everywhere else. So Maxwell, to answer your question before that weekend mess comes in terms of clouds, it does look like we get some sun in here this week. And I think we get a lot more than we've had weeks past. So there's that. Justin asked a good question. How windy? Let's look at the winds together here, Justin. In terms of the winds tomorrow, I think we'll have gusts probably 25 to 30 at times. It's just the gradient between the high and the low pressure. And let's look at later this week as well, because I really didn't look at winds. Oftentimes on Sundays, I'm sitting down looking at these models with you. I tried to do some pre-stuff with some notes just to get the main messages across, but I didn't look at stuff like wind and all that. I usually only do unless there's a big storm coming in. So here's tomorrow. These are your sustained winds. So yeah, 20 miles per hour. You can probably put gusts anywhere from 10 to 15 above this. So pretty windy tomorrow. Sustained winds 15 to 25, gusts over 30 at times. Tuesday and Wednesday, the wind should back off as high pressure moving in. So you can see light wind, maybe 5 to 10, maybe 5 to 15 Tuesday. Wednesday, light wind as well. And then that next system that comes in Friday should bring some stronger winds with it. Let's see if it does. Here's your Friday. So here's your gusty winds coming in on Friday with that Clipper system. Probably gusts over 30 again on Friday, and then they should back off a little bit for the weekend. You can see there goes that system. Yeah, we're backing off for the weekend. So there's that. Okay, so I hope that helps. Mark, yeah, I hesitated using the word bitter cold, but I think when wind chills are at -5 to 0, I call that bitter cold. I wouldn't want to be outside without a bunch of layers on. Compared to where we've been, compared to where we can go, we can certainly get colder, but I've got other adjectives for that. That's when I throw in the word frigid, but anything below 0 to me, buddy, is bitter. I don't know about you, but I get it. I know it can get a lot worse around here. Jennifer wants a big snowstorm too. Jennifer, I don't see one in the forecast. I just don't as of right now. All the models kind of lean towards next week being a little bit more active around here, but I'm not going to buy it at this point. It does look like everything kind of stays down to the south this week, and we just enjoy cold air. And Maxwell, you're welcome. Maxwell, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. He brought up the fact that, he was asking, how do we get sunshine this time of year? And the way we get sun is with Arctic air masses. That was my answer, right? We have to have cold air to get some true sunshine. And now that we've got that true Arctic air mass coming in this week, imagine that. There's not a lot of moisture in it, because remember, the colder the air, the less moisture it holds. So in this case, we've got very cold air coming in this week. Doesn't hold a lot of moisture, so we are going to see a lot of sunshine outside of clouds and moisture that the lake provides for the snowbelt areas. So there's that. And Maxwell brings up a good point. We have I think we have our first 5 o'clock sunset tomorrow. I'll have to check on that. I know we're really close to 5, so there's that. And Russ, you're right. So February, as we look forward to February, obviously February is going to start on the cold side. It looks to stay cold at least for the first 10 days or so as a whole, like below average cold. But February is always the month that I say you really start to notice the sunrise and sunset times changing. January, you don't. There's not a lot of change in the numbers. But in February, that's when things really start to get rolling, where we start to gain 2:15 per day, 2:30 per day by the end of the month. We really start to gain that daylight. And February is the month that you really start to notice it. So that's some great news. We've got nothing but good things to look forward to. Average highs are going up. Our coldest days of the year are typically right now through last week. So average highs are starting to go up as well. And I don't want to say we've made it, but guys, we're so close. We really are. I mean, November can be nasty, December can be nasty, January can be nasty, and it hasn't been bad at all, right? So we are almost there. It just takes a little bit of time, and we'll get there. And I know March tends to lag on in April too with some of the cold air, but we'll be there before you know it. So stay positive, everybody. Okay, I think that's it. I appreciate your questions, and thanks for joining me on this Sunday night, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful start to your work week. Stay strong. We'll get at it. We'll keep you updated. Again, slick travel maybe tomorrow morning. Just keep that in mind with perhaps some freezing drizzle and then the light snow that we're going to have tonight. Again, if you left your car outside, porches, decks, anything untreated is going to be a little slick tomorrow morning, okay? So keep that in mind as you're heading out. Justin, you're welcome. Guys, have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.